It started 2 weeks ago. He just appeared. I was doing the dishes when someone walked up behind me, set a plate in the sink and said, "Sorry, I just finished eating." I live alone. I turned around to find a guy I'd never seen in my life. Glasses, brown hair, dressed for an office job, acting completely normal, like nothing was wrong. I panicked, grabbed a knife, told him to leave. "Whoa, calm down," he said, backing away. "Let me go get someone, just breathe." He bolted out the door so fast, I barely saw him turn the corner. A few minutes later, my landlord knocked. "Tim said you threatened him with a knife. Everything okay?" Tim lurked behind him, looking worried. "I don't know who Tim is," I said. "He should be kicked out for trespassing." My landlord looked between us. Your roommate." I had never met this man, not once, but apparently he'd been living with me for 3 months. I tried to disprove it. His name was on my lease paperwork, same signature date as mine. My neighbors all knew him, loved him even. And the thing that terrified me most, he had a bedroom in my apartment. A door I'd never seen before, in a hallway I walked through every day. Inside, a guitar in the corner, posters on the walls, dust that looked at least a week old. Nothing about it looked staged. Nothing except my own memory said it shouldn't exist. I fled to my best friend's place, told her everything. "Are you sure you don't mean Tim?" she asked, like it was a joke. "You haven't treated him like this since he had a crush on you in high school." I tore through her closet until I found our old yearbook, flipped to our graduating class. There he was, a younger Tim, standing next to people I actually remembered. I found him online too, Instagram, Facebook, even a LinkedIn with a full resume. He's the guitarist for a band called The Thought Forms. They have real music on every streaming platform. I felt like I was losing my mind. Eventually, I steeled myself and went back to the apartment. He was in the living room practicing guitar. Every instinct told me to call the police. I did more than once. They didn't believe me either. Everywhere I followed him, people knew him completely. Real history, real relationships, not a single crack in the story except that I remembered none of it. The only tell was subtle. When he thought I wasn't looking, his face would go completely blank, like an actor resetting between scenes. One night I caught him wide awake at 3:14 a.m., dressed for work, sitting motionless in the living room, staring at the front door. I took a photo. When I checked my phone to post it, the photo was gone. Worse, I was starting to remember him too. Fragments surfacing unprompted, talking by lockers, songs I'd supposedly always known. I posted online, terrified, hoping someone could help me hold on to the truth before it slipped away entirely. Reading through everyone's comments gave me an idea. I started playing along, treating Tim like he'd always existed, apologized for the knife, let him talk about our past without pushing back. It seemed to slow the forced memories, at least a little. I learned more about him. An orphan, no family to invent, single. He told me almost giddy about a song he wrote for me back in high school when he'd never shown anyone. I declined to hear it. Later, doing chores to keep up appearances, the radio switched on by itself. His voice, his band, a song about a woman who doesn't know the man who loves her. He was watching me from across the room, waiting for me to notice. He didn't care that the story contradicted what he'd told me minutes earlier. He only cared that I'd heard it. I started to understand something. This wasn't malice. He needed my approval, my belief. Everyone else in my life already accepted him completely. I was the only gap left to close. I couldn't run. Everyone around me was already convinced. My mother, when I called to ask about him, laughed and told me how much she loved having him over for study nights. My friend canceled plans with me because she'd already promised Tim she'd be at his show. If I ran, what else would he rewrite in my absence? So I set up hidden cameras, one in the living room, one in my bedroom, hoping he didn't know about the second. The living room camera caught him freezing mid-motion, staring directly into the lens for several seconds before the footage glitched and cut out entirely. The bedroom camera showed something worse. At exactly midnight, with my door locked and blocked, he simply appeared inside my room, no door opening, no footsteps. He stood beside my bed for 5 straight hours, motionless, watching me sleep. I never moved once, didn't even seem to breathe. He left at exactly 5:15 a.m., minutes before my usual wake-up time. I found the building's official floor plans at the library. Current year. His room wasn't on them. There was no space in the structure where it could exist. No bump on the exterior. No window visible from outside. I took a hammer to his wall while he was out, punched straight through. Behind it, nothing. Total darkness, like a void that hadn't expected to be seen. When I left to grab a flashlight, the hole was gone. The poster was back up like nothing happened. Small details kept slipping. I caught myself writing my roommate instead of Tim. A childhood photo I'd had for years now showed 5 people instead of 4, a younger version of him standing right beside me. I found myself singing one of his songs perfectly, word for word, without ever consciously learning it. He came home and invited me to see his band play live at the park. I understood, finally, exactly what he wanted: to be seen, to be believed, especially by me. So I decided to give him exactly that, in the worst way I could manage. The day of the show, he drove us there himself. The park was packed, half the town, it felt like. My landlord, my friends, even my parents said they might come. Backstage, he smiled at me. "Try to have some fun, okay?" I smiled back, "I will." The band took the stage to roaring applause. He found me in the crowd immediately. "Hello, we are the Thought Forms." I moved through the audience toward a friend, asked her to record what came next, and pulled out the speech I'd carefully written. After the second song, he leaned into the mic. "This next one is for someone very special, someone I've thought about for a long time. Could Ray please come up to the stage?" A spotlight found me instantly. The crowd parted like they'd rehearsed it. I climbed the stairs, speech in hand, and stepped up to the microphone. "Before this goes any further, I have something I need to say." I unfolded my paper. It wasn't my speech anymore. It was a promotional flyer, his smiling face printed across it. He'd rewritten it. My actual words were gone from the page, and almost from my mind, too. He watched me, smiling, certain he'd already won. "Well," he asked, "what was it you needed to say?" I felt the truth slipping away from me the harder I tried to grasp it. So I said the first thing I could hold on to. "Tim is my roommate," I started. "I've known him since high school." Then I kept going, inventing absurdities as fast as I could speak them. His real passion was polka music. He used to play accordion before the guitar. He actually hates this band and this place. I think we should hear him play accordion instead, no lip-syncing this time. The crowd went dead silent, then murmurs started. I kept escalating, claimed he gave fake, more impressive names at coffee shops, claimed he stepped in wet concrete trying to fake his own Hollywood star, claimed he cried at every children's movie and faked his guitar calluses. The crowd's confusion turned to laughter. People started muttering, "Wait, what am I doing here? I thought I knew him better than this." It was working, the story was cracking. "And most people don't know this," I said, "but I actually had a roommate before Tim." Before I could finish, everything stopped. Cups, phones, papers, all hit the grass simultaneously. Every single person vanished. The band, the crew, gone. Only their instruments remained, scattered on the ground. Tim stood there alone, gripping his guitar by the neck, shaking with fury. "I almost had it," he said. "It was perfect, and you ruined it in front of everyone." He hurled something into the empty field, a small box that hit the grass and popped open. A ring. "Don't worry," he said, that same practiced smile snapping back into place. "I can fix this." I ran. There was no sound except my footsteps and his behind me. No matter how far I ran, the distance between us never changed. He was letting me tire myself out. Eventually, I collapsed, hands scraping against the dirt. He caught up easily. "Let's just start over," he said gently. "I'll take us back to this morning. We can do it again without your little script." I stared up at him, and something finally clicked into place. "That last thing I said up there," I told him, "about having a roommate before you, that was true, wasn't it?" He froze. For the first time, I saw real fear cross his face. "Don't do this," he pleaded. "Am I really so bad that you'd rather go back to him?" I said nothing. "You could come back to the stage, accept me. I could be real, we could be real." After a long silence, I finally answered. "I can't run anymore, and I can't let you become real either." He let out a long, exhausted sigh. Did you really have to say I liked polka? I laughed, the first real laugh I'd had in months. And then he was gone. My real roommate, the one before Tim, was someone I'd known for a long time. Someone in a band, someone very special to me once. He got lost in his own ego, his own career, started using and eventually started hurting me. Physically, mentally. I stayed far longer than I should have, blinded by what I thought we had. Eventually, after an episode too dangerous to ignore, I called the police on him. The scars he left didn't heal easily. So I did the only thing that felt survivable at the time. I pretended he had never existed. And somewhere in that erased space, something, or someone, else was made to fill it. I woke up back in my apartment, his belongings gone, the music gone, the false memories gone with him. I wandered the rooms for a long time, trying to convince myself any of it had been real. In my pocket, I found the flyer, his face still printed on it. I flipped it over. A signature, a note in his handwriting. Try to have some fun, okay? In your mind, always Tim.